as thermal imaging has increased in quality and decreased in price, I've been using it to pump prime some new projects, and one is starting as a project on badger ecology and behaviour. And what I'm finding with especially the Pulsar accolades, the new ones I'm using at the moment, is I can now individually recognise badgers. So for example, from a high seat with the accolade on certain settings out to 30, 40, 50 metres, I can tell which badger is which from the pattern of the heat, not the pattern of the coloration. So I have a badger I know very well now. He's got a dark stripe along his back because there's less heat coming out of his back, and he has a patch on his left rear side which is very shiny. He must have quite thin fur at that point. Essentially, the 25 millikelvin resolution of the Pulsar accolades means I can individually recognise different badgers consistently over different nights, which leads to a whole new range of questions that we can answer. Do individual badgers specialise in particular types of food? Do they learn how to raid nests, for example? Do they learn how to defeat badger-proof fences and badger-proof... I was actually watching a badger the other night hitting the spiral in my pheasant feeder, and he was getting the because he was getting fed, and I could watch all this and know that badger has learnt to do that. So I'm finding the thermal technology is allowing me to pose questions and gather data that before was almost impossible. I have done quite a few surveys for farmers around Northern Ireland on the basis that they say the government figures are way too low, i.e. 4 to 5 badgers per square kilometre based on set numbers, average number of badgers per set, and most of us who live in the countryside find that number a bit low. My estimate of a local farm was I had 12 separate badgers within a quarter of a square kilometre, which in the units of measurement is 48 badgers per square kilometre, which is 10 times what they think is the hotspots. That fits in with a lot of what DARA have been doing here in trapping badgers. They can't believe there's so many badgers in traps. I can. The fox shooters, the other deer managers I deal with, we are all using thermal. We're out and about, and we are recording this. And the good thing about this, Charlie, is it's not Jaimie Dick's numbers that he's done in the back of a fag packet, it's Jaimie Dick's videos. We're going to do a citizen science project where people will be allowed to view all the videos we take, and they can ask their own questions. For example, do badgers consort with cows? Do badgers disturb lapwings, which I found I've been watching the lapwings spend a lot of time in the air because the badgers are moving around and the lapwings are trying to roost on the ground, and that's not happening. That could be quite problematic for the lapwings' energy budget, and I'd like to investigate all these questions now with direct observation and the evidence that's irrefutable because it's videoed. Plus you've got a nocturnal animal, which is difficult to see. As soon as you use light or even night vision, in my experience, because you maybe have a laser illuminator, you by definition disturb the behaviour of the animal. Whereas with the thermal, particularly from high seats or get the wind right, you can spend a lot of time videoing totally natural behaviours. And being an experimentalist, I want to now start running experiments. So I can say what type of food do they choose, what type of barrier would be effective, what do they learn. If I put out some hen's eggs, do they learn to raid hen's eggs? I'll be thinking as an experimentalist as well as watching them naturally to address these questions and give those who are in a position of wanting scientific data to make decisions on whatever it is. There's some very contentious topics out there. Here are the data. Fog doesn't really bother it that much. Wee bit of rain. There's various settings for different temperatures. As the temperature goes down at night, you find the rock setting maybe is the better setting for individual recognition. This is all, I'm learning all this, and I'm terribly excited about it because I can address questions and answer them, provide data that we couldn't very easily in the past.